Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, gravel cycling in the UK can generally mean anything from a B road that's poorly maintained right the way through to a rocky, crazy, peaty descent and everything in between. So which bike should you bring? Like, we've seen all the lovely super gravel trails you get in the States and in the Alps, but in the UK it's way more varied. And I would say on my rides I've encountered everything that I can possibly imagine. So I now have a mountain bike and I have a gravel bike, but which one should I use when I go for a ride? To find out, I've come to the Pentlands because it's on my doorstep and it has a good mix of stuff that I can test everything on. I'll be riding a mix of terrains over a 40-kilometer loop, which will include smooth gravel flats and paved climbs, single track gravel fast descents, the steepest gravel climb in the Pentlands, wide fire trail style gravel, muddy, technical sandy quad tracks and climbs, heathery, peaty, grassy trails, and rocky, steep single track. So as I ride each bike, I'll be talking over how they feel to ride, what strengths and weaknesses I'm finding with them as I'm going, and generally which one I would recommend in each situation. So sit back, relax, and enjoy me do the hard work so you don't have to. So we'll start the comparison with arguably the hardest climb in the Pentlands Hills, the Dreghorn Drop. It's a 1.2 kilometer climb with an average gradient of 15%, widely considered to be the hardest gravel climb in the region. Alright, so I'm on the Arcadex first, up here. I suspect that the gearing is going to be what limits me here, well, that and my fitness. So the gravel bike has got a higher gearing than the mountain bike, so it's probably going to be tougher to grind out, but then it's lighter and stiffer and I get more positions on the handlebars, so it might be more comfortable to ride. Who knows, but what I do know is I'm probably going to walk a bit of it. Right, let's get on the gravel bike and see what we can do. So normally I like to descend down this. I try and avoid climbing it whenever I can, so this is a bit of a torturous treat. I'm already in the granny gear, got nowhere else to go. But so far, feeling pretty efficient. So they seem to have resurfaced this path quite recently, so that's made it slightly easier to climb up. I remember this all being washed out with huge gullies, so this is quite nice. I definitely feel like I'm getting the power down very directly. I'm able to sort of pull on the handlebars with my upper body and push down through my legs more efficiently than with the mountain bike. But I do feel like I'm grinding. I think my cadence is a bit slow. So I lost some traction there, and now I can't get started. And that's one of the biggest frustrations with trying to climb these kind of hills, is if you do stop, you're just not going to start again. Pushing a bike up a hill then, how's the gravel bike feel? Nice and light actually, no problems with that. Feels nice and nimble. I haven't got much bike packing stuff on it at the moment, so actually it feels super light, which is quite nice. So I'm able to stand up on the pedals and sort of use my weight to help power through this, which helps me feel like I get more power down. Obviously the downside is I'm now taking the weight off the back wheel, so it's a bit more slippy. But here we are, up to speed, and we're away. So we're at the top. We made it up the wrong way. Normally I like to go down that. When we got up there, I lost traction a few times, which caused the wheel to spin, and I had to step off because I couldn't have high enough cadence, which I've identified before as being an issue. But we made it. Felt good, felt strong. Let's see what the mountain bike makes of it. So already I'm noticing the cadence with the lower gearing is really helping me feel like I'm able to keep momentum. I'm obviously slower, I think. It feels slower, but it feels more controlled. I've not locked out the suspension, so I'm on the medium firm, slightly bouncy setting at the moment. So as the gradients go up a bit, I'm not sure if it's because I did this yesterday and my legs are tired, but I'm definitely feeling it more in the quads. I think it's this different riding position. My legs aren't used to it, so I feel like I'm getting tired quicker. I've also locked out the suspension now fully, just to make sure I get all the power down. Okay, this is where on the gravel bike I couldn't keep the cadence up and I lost traction. Let's see what these tired legs can do. So the mountain bike, way more controlled. Felt like I had much more control over where I was going and how I was getting there. I didn't feel like a passenger. The increased cadence from the gearing definitely helped, but at the end of the day my fitness gave out again. So close, so close. So that's the mountain bike one done as well. I think to sum up the differences, like I was saying on the way up on the mountain bike, the gearing is a massive difference. So the mountain bike gearing is obviously made for steeper inclines and I really felt the difference. I think the weight of the bike on the mountain bike was very noticeable actually. The gravel bike felt lighter, more nimble, but the mountain bike felt more planted and I could get a higher cadence. So if I had to choose which one to come up that hill on, it would be the gravel bike, but with a different gear set on. I think that's the choice there. But both made it. I managed to get further up the super steep bit on the mountain bike, but again, that was probably because more of the gearing than anything else. But yeah, we've done it. I'm glad that's done. I'm not going up there again for a little while. Okay, having handled the wall of the Dreghorn drop, we now get rewarded by the Castle Law descent. So we should be able to get a good bit of speed up on the gravel bike, because I'm hoping that the efficiency, the rigidness and the responsiveness of the gravel bike will win here. But I mean, I'm just going to have fun on both of them, aren't I? So it's quite windy and I'm expecting the drone to lose me, but already I feel like I want to go way faster than I can. Oh, it feels good. Whee! This is good fun already. Like, I'm not going anywhere near as fast as I could, but I know for a fact this will just rocket down here. No problem. Look at those views! Yes! Very, very, very fun. Flying along here. Saddle all the way down. Up onto the stands. Let the bike go. How's it feel? Feels very planted. No problem. Wide tyres. Gobbling this all up. No trouble at all. So we've hit some coarser, more angular gravel now on this descent, and the gravel bike doesn't like it very much, or at least me on the gravel bike doesn't like it very much. I find it scoots around, it skates around, and I have a definite lack of control. I can't lean far enough over the back of the saddle to feel like I'm not just going to face plant. So it does feel like I have to go a lot slower. I'm terrified of washing out. My rear wheel is locking up and I'm skidding down on it. Can't put any more weight backwards. So do you just go, close your eyes, hold on and go, or do you try and control it? Let's go. This bit freaked me out on the gravel bike, but I feel way more emboldened on this one. Oh wow, so much faster down here. Yes, lovely. So we're just finishing the Castle Law descent down onto the Flotterstone Road, and we got some footpath with steps. Clearly not a gravel bike favourite. It's going to be slow, bouncy, and feeling like I'm going to bounce over the handlebars. But we'll go down it nonetheless. It's all part of the testing. So we're just going down here quite nicely. A couple of steps, a bit loose. There's two schools of thought on should you be in the hoods or in the drops for technical descending like this. Now I sometimes find that when I'm in the hoods I'm able to push back and move my weight further back, so I feel a bit more stable, whereas when I'm in the drops I feel like my head and my upper body mass is quite far over the front wheel. Now that might just be my perception, but you do sacrifice control and also braking power when you're in the hoods. So that is one of the risks I take when I do this. Oh yes, this is more fun. Woohoo! No problem on the mountain bike. Off the jump. Hey. So gravel bike reflections on the Castle Law descent then. First half, absolutely brilliant. Flying down there, you can get really aero, tuck in, it feels nimble, agile, very quick. Then it got a bit rougher. The gravel was a bit coarser, so I felt like I was scooting about on it a bit, so I had to slow down. That's probably my ability. Probably if I committed a bit more, I probably would have cut through it, but I couldn't help thinking I was going to wash out. And then I got some steps and some ice at the bottom as a little treat. So let's sum up the Castle Law descent then on the mountain bike. That was good fun. Definitely felt more stable, more planted, and obviously because I got the dropper I was able to get my weight back a little bit, and I felt like I had more control. I didn't have so much weight over the front wheel and feel like I was at the mercy of the coarser stones. I just went straight over the rough stuff, no problem, glided over that. And then when it came to the steps and the bumpy bit, obviously it was better, it was more fun, it was more enjoyable. So wrapping up the package of the Dreghorn climb and the Castle Law descent, which bike would I take next time? Well, I said I'll take the gravel bike up the climb with the mountain bike gearing, and I think I would take the mountain bike down the descent, just because it felt way more in control. It got a little bit too rough in places for the gravel bike, whereas the mountain bike overall I think was better. So overall I think the gravel bike was the better bike to have on that descent. So I guess for the whole thing overall the mountain bike wins. No, the gravel bike, it was more stable. The top bit was better, it was more control. It was faster, it was smoother. I felt like I'd conquered something more technical. It felt more engaging, and it's red, it was better. Well, I don't know, maybe I enjoyed them on both then. Okay, now for the next challenge, the Maiden's Clue climb. Now, clearly this is a classic mountain bike descent, and there's no point me comparing the mountain bike to the gravel bike because, yeah, the mountain bike's just going to be so much better. But what about climbing it? It's a bit of a technical climb. I've done it quite a few times on the gravel bike, so I know what I'm in for. I know it's tricky, I know there's huge, like, up bits where there's pipes and there's big rocks, and it's sometimes mushy, and it can be a bit of a slog. So I know what to expect on the gravel bike, but what's the mountain bike like? How does that handle the uphill? Obviously it's going to smash the downhill part, but what about the uphill? Let's find out. Mountain bike is just chewing up this rough climb at the bottom of Maiden's Clue. No problem. I already feel like I'm bouncing around everywhere. Difficult to maintain a straight line. I'm just going wherever the rocks take me. So you get a bit of respite once you're out of the trees at the bottom. It levels off a bit, the mud goes away, and the gravel bike has no trouble with this. No trouble at all. The most noticeable difference I think I've noticed so far is like the mountain bike just crushes everything. It doesn't care. It just rolls over it, smashes through it, glides over it. Whereas the gravel bike, you feel like you're a little less in control sometimes, and you're kind of a passenger going where the rocks take you and always trying to carefully pick your line, especially on the rougher stuff. But also the mountain bike is so slow when you get onto anything that's not as rough. Like efficiency wise, gravel bike definitely wins, but just raw power and crushing it, mountain bike seems to be winning so far. Easy peasy climb on the mountain bike. In fact, I am so tempted to go back down there and just ride down it, but then I'll have to climb up again, so another day. But yeah, just chewed that up, no problem. So you've climbed up the Clou and the gravel bike handled it absolutely fine. A couple of points, just had to get off and just jump over a big drainage pipe or something. But in general, no trouble. Now though, we're heading towards some terrain that I more often than not find myself on when I'm gravel riding, and that is terrain that isn't gravel. So now I'm just up on a heathery, marshy climb. This is called the quad tracks, and I've been up it before. I know the bike can do it, but yeah, it is very spinny. Traction gets lost all the time. Look at that. Doesn't matter what bike you're on, you can always enjoy the view. That is brilliant. I nearly stacked it there actually. So down here you can see where my narrow high pressure tyre caught the edge of the groove and then started washing away from me. Now that probably wouldn't happen on a mountain bike. I can just go where I want and it just plows over it. So much less stress. Right, so that was the heathery, boggy single track traversed with varying degrees of success on the gravel bike. You definitely got to be a bit more careful. It's a heathery, fast, bumpy, rocky, peaty descent that goes down to the tree line and toward up reservoir down there. Now I've only ever done it on a gravel bike. I've seen mountain bikes whiz down here and thought that looks awesome fun. But I know the gravel bike can do it. It just does it slowly and it does it very, very bone jarringly. But just how much more fun is it on a mountain bike? Let's find out. Okay, we're off. Down Scale Extric. I think I might go in the drops for some of this. Already it's very bumpy. Using my arms a lot to absorb and my legs. That's where the suspension comes from on a gravel bike. You definitely feel it. This is the bit where I feel like the mountain bike would just totally ride away from me on here. And I probably could go a bit faster, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like you want to. I value my face and my limbs too much. So far, so fast, nice and easy and smooth, no problem. Can't go too fast because I'm going to lose Frank, but I can still get a feel for what it's like. And so far it's lovely, just cruising. Oh, you go rocket down here on this bike, no trouble. Oh, I just want to go. I'm just going to go. Sorry, Frank. Let's go. Oh, yes. Woohoo! Oh, it's lovely. That was good fun. There we go. And the final steep bit down to the road. This is clearly going to be mountain bike as well. It already feels brilliant. Look at this. Oh yeah. No problem. So this is one of the ways off Scale Electric down to the main road bit, and it is very rough. Again, quite often find myself on this type of stuff when I'm out riding the gravel of Scotland. Just the speed at which you can do this. It's amazing. Gets you into a lot of trouble, I should think. Okay, we're off that crazy mountain bike bit. Now we're on to where the gravel bike shines. The nice gravelly tracks, where we can go nice and fast, nice and smooth, and just enjoy ourselves. They're lovely. So big country tracks, like wide, stony farm tracks, things like that, this bike is brilliant on. It's very fast, very efficient. And I just feel like I can cover a lot of ground very easily. Whereas on the mountain bike, I feel like I've got a lot more resistance to everything I do. So definitely, if you're doing stuff like this, you want a gravel bike. No doubts there. Sure, gravel trails are great. And the gravel track along the back of the reservoirs here is brilliant on a gravel bike, but on a mountain bike, pretty boring. So I'm going to detour a little bit and find some woods to play in. That sounds like more fun on this bike. Woods detours on a mountain bike, big thumbs up, definitely worth it. So we've gone over the nice easy, nice gravel bike friendly gravel tracks, and we find ourselves in Poets Glen. Now this is somewhere I actively avoid on the gravel bike, either up or down. It is just not fun, but for the sake of science, I'll take it down it today, see how much of a horrible time I have, and then how much better it is on the mountain bike. This is pretty much a foregone conclusion. This is mountain bike territory all day long. But we'll go anyway. So the top half of it's not too bad actually. You can probably do that. It gets a bit slippery and the roots become a bit treacherous. But it's this bit that I always have difficulty with, coming straight down this narrow chute. Now there is like a slight bailout option on the side there, but that's no fun. Let's simulate that this is the only route I've got and I have to come down here. Alright, let's get it done. Quite often after it's been raining, this whole path is a river. Right, now it's starting to get a bit rougher now. Just as we get around the corner of these trees, it really drops off. Here we go, steps and pegs. Oh, it's on my poor hubs. Yep, way faster on the mountain bike. Whoosh. Right, I imagine we're going to chew this up as well. Oh. No bother. Oh yes, easy. That was super fun. I kind of knew it would be though. Mountain bike was guaranteed to be better at that than the gravel bike, but it's so much better. It's unbelievable. However, what's not better is now a long road stint and a climb. I really don't want to do that on this bike. It's going to be horrible, but it's all part of the testing. This is where the gravel bike will definitely win. So we're into the climb. Gradient's 12%. I get to enjoy at least 1, 2, 3, 4 even positions on the handlebars, so I can always adjust to make myself more comfortable. Also, pedaling just feels more efficient, so I feel like I'm putting more watts through the ground. Give me a gravel bike. This is horrible. I've got no real positions to change on. I'm just a big old wedge climbing this hill. What a slog. Right, I'm glad that's done. I'll put the times for the two bikes along there. I rode at what was a comfortable cadence and power to keep me just enough out of breath but not working too hard. So it'll be interesting to see what the two times are. One thing I am finding myself doing on this bike is thinking about ways I can alter this route to give me more downhills and less uphills. Here we are again, gravel heaven. These tracks alongside the reservoirs, perfect for a gravel bike. Fast, smooth and fun. So I enjoyed the gravel bike going past the reservoirs. All the way from the road climb really, from Poets Glen to here, has been perfect on a gravel bike. It's nice and fast, smooth, efficient, comfy, and it gets you where you want to go. Brilliant. But now we're at somewhere a little tricky. This is called the Yellow Brick Road, and it goes for about 2 and a bit K. That way across the side there, it's a sandy, rocky quad track in various states of disrepair. I have often been along here and lost the will to live. If it's slightly wet, boggy, mud, you can forget about it. This place is horrible. Cool, so it starts off pretty good. Like now, this is a nice bit of smooth track. I say smooth, relatively smooth. So this is quite common when you're going off into maybe the Highlands or slightly off the back roads in the Grampians. You'll find tracks like this, which on the outset seem really nice. They look like you can get nice speed on them. but they will have little traps in them, nasty bits, like this section here. So on a gravel bike, I do not enjoy this. It is rough and it's loose. Trying to plot my way down, think I see my track. Let me know if you agree with the way I've chosen. Seems to have worked. That's good. Oh. And then climb up the other side. Find some gears, give it some power. I think I'm lucky and the surface is slightly frozen still. So normally it's more like this, where it's just wet and boggy with huge bomb holes. But at the moment, it's quite solid underneath. Okay, here we go again. Another steep descent, followed by a steep climb. Ah, yes, not too bad. Looks like it's been resurfaced as well. Hole at the bottom though, oh, that's not so good. Okay. This side though, very rough. I think this side might be the best. Oh. Here comes another steep descent, steep and slippery. Not bad. Through the big wet puddle. Actually, that's not too deep either. And up we go again. So I've pretty much decided I'm not going to do the yellow road. On the mountain bike, the gravel bike could handle it. We know the mountain bike will handle it. They're pretty much going to be much of muchness along there because it was not as bad as I thought. So I'm going to call that a draw along Yellow Brick Road and a win for the gravel bike coming back on the quiet roads, because I just don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is just traverse the side of that hill. There's a track along there that I've done once on a gravel bike years ago. Never filmed it, never did it again because I didn't enjoy it at all. But I reckon this guy will do just fine. So we'll climb the exponential and we'll head into Green Clue, and then we'll pick up that trail and head back down here, I think, back into the reservoirs. That should be good. That's more for what this bike's for. Let's go and do it. So we know the gravel bike's better up the exponential than the mountain bike on the tarmac. So I thought I'd just pop over onto the gravel on the side there, but since I'm going to be slower anyway, I may as well be on something a bit more interesting. Oh, that exponential. Done. I don't think I was any slower going up the gravel side than I would have been on the tarmac on this bike. It seemed to be the same speed wherever you go. Alright, so we'll leave gravelling Rusty to mess around over there on the yellow road. We'll go this way and mess around on that hill. This is a firm favourite of mine. I love going along here. Off we go. So we're going to begin the traverse and the descent down the side of this hill. Unfortunately, we're just scraping the edge of the Kirk Newton airfield like restriction area, so I can't get the drone up. I was kind of hoping I would just be outside it and I'll get the nice drone shot coming down. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, so it's just going to be the old chesty cam, I'm afraid. Hopefully that'll be good enough. Let's see what happens. Okay, we begin on the narrow heathery track. Feels good, not too bad so far. Wouldn't mind the gravel bike on here actually. That seems all right. Huge channels, some big rocks. I think I'll bypass that big gully. Drop into this one though, look at the size of that. Whoa. That would be a challenge on the gravel bike. Mountain bike had no trouble. This is really good. I used to always avoid this, but now I think this might be on the rotation of routes to do. Mountain bike at least. Still wouldn't bring the gravel bike down here. Those runs I did in a Boyne really helped me to understand how the bike feels and how to settle it. Feel much more confident. Still not very fast, but more confident. That was amazing fun. I would recommend that you don't do it on a gravel bike. I mean, it's doable. You won't have anywhere near as much fun though. Get one of those and come down that track. Absolutely brilliant. And that's what it's all about. Cool. Right, let's catch up with old Gravelling Rusty and see how the yellow brick road's gone. So that's the yellow brick road done. From a gravel bike point of view, that was actually pretty good this time round. I've been along there when times when it's just been walking most of the way. But I think because it's still slightly frozen and dried out a little bit, it's actually not too bad. The main problem I had was the thin tyres, and the tread's not very good at clearing mud and sand out, so it just fills up and I'm just riding about on big old slicks. But that was pretty good. It's quite flowy and loose along here. Quite nice on the gravel bike. Whee! Just gotta make sure you don't hit the brakes too hard. There we go. Nice. So we've just left Bayflaw now on the gravel bike, and I feel like I could probably do it all again. I think that's the big thing I've noticed about this versus the mountain bike. It's just so efficient. I just love bombing along, you know, flat out where you can, bouncing around, going fast. It's so light and nimble. You just feel like you want to go fast all the time. Right, let's reconvene somewhere sunnier with both bikes and let's summarize what I've discovered. Hang on, before we round up, let's just go and ride some more woods on this. Super keen, love it. Does like going downhill. I'll give it that. Let's drop into these woods. Again, I've done this on the gravel bike. Wouldn't say it was enjoyable, it was doable, but I'm anticipating great things with this bike. I think it's the fact that the roots just don't cause any bother anymore. The bike just sucks them all up. It allows you to just flow over things, keep your speed up, and just get a good pace on. And the gravel bike, I'm bouncing around, wheels going everywhere, arms and legs having to do the work. Oh, lost a bit of the wheel there. Down the pit. Whoosh. Again, I would never have done that on the gravel bike. You guys might have done, but for me that would have been too much. That was good fun in the woods there. Really enjoyed that. This bike just chewed it all up. So those 2 tracks that I just did, I would normally just totally avoid on the gravel bike. I know it's no fun on that thing to do them, but on this thing, great fun. So there's another very obvious difference between the 2 bikes. Good, right, let's go to the sum up, shall we? So there we are. I've been out on them, I've explored, I've deviated from my original plan on the mountain bike because I wanted to have a bit of fun on that. And what did I discover? Well, if you want to go fast and you want it to be smooth and you want to just like munch the miles, go for the gravel bike. That thing is absolutely rapid. No problem all day on that thing. You've got loads of energy, you're in a good position, no trouble just going for hours and hours and hours. However, it is very rigid and you can't adjust the saddle, and the drops are in a very aero position, so it's less useful for when you're going technical. So if you do find yourself sort of meandering off the nice fire trails and the nice like gravel footpaths, this thing is what you need. However, this is great downhill. It's absolutely brilliant on the rough stuff, but it hates going on the flat or uphill. That thing is a slog. So if you're not doing anything remotely technical or don't think anything particularly tricky is coming along, you don't need that. You need one of them. But what I discovered, if I'm going somewhere like into the Highlands where it's usually rocky, horrible footpaths or sheep tracks, that thing really begins to struggle. So I think the mountain bike is better for going for long days out in the Highlands, whereas the gravel bike is like your Aberfoyle, you're going around the Aviemore routes, going around things in the Lothians and in Fife. That thing's perfect. But if you're going off the beaten track and you don't know quite what you're going to encounter, I'd probably take that. So which one's better? Well, I think the answer is pretty plain. I've had to get one of each. So neither is better. Each one has its strengths and weaknesses, and I guess the N+1 rule comes into effect here. I need that one for doing the crazy stuff that was smashing up the bearings and ruining the gravel bike, but I also need that one for doing the huge long days and very efficient cycling that gravel biking is all about. So they've got their strengths and weaknesses. I like both of them. I really love the mountain bike now. I've had a few days out on it, love it. And I still love the Arcadex. So light, so nimble, so fast, so agile. And that thing just smashes down the hills. What a beast. What do you think? What do you think we should be having? I haven't looked at suspension gravel bikes or hardtail mountain bikes. They're kind of in the middle, I would say. I'd say these are probably the 2 extremes. Is a suspension gravel bike better? Hardtail mountain bike? I don't know, I guess I have to buy some more to find out. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you like to ride on your days out. What about e-bikes? Man, e-mountain bike, maybe that'll make up for the efficiency problems. It's just so confusing what to do. Anyway, with that said, I hope you enjoyed watching that comparison. I certainly enjoyed riding them. I love coming out to the Pentlands, it's always a treat. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on one of these 2 bikes next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.